All right, today we're going to be going over automations inside of MFG Plus. Inside of the automations, this is one of my favorite pieces. And automations are nothing more than triggers, actions, and follow up sequences that you can automate. Some people call them drip sequences, some people call them workflows or automations, whatever you call them. This is really one of the key features inside of the MFG Plus CRM and allows you to really take your CRM to the next level by automating a lot of the tasks that you would normally do as an agent. So, we're going to go over some automations, some basic funnel automation, settings, enrollment history, execution logs, and those are the basics, right? And this is allows you to track back where issues may have taken place. If the automation is not working properly, you can look up in the enrollment history or in the execution logs or in the notes area to kind of figure out why or where it went wrong. We'll go over some basic brochure automations. There is a power dialer automation, which I'll show you also, and then a booked appointment automation. Let's jump right in. Okay, when you first log into the dashboard over on the left-hand side, you're going to see automation. Click on automation. And you'll see a list of workflows. These are the ones that we've built out for you, but we're going to use a test workflow, a brand new workflow. Typically, I like to put these in folders, and if you keep the nomenclature that's going on here, it'll be a lot easier for you to find stuff in the future. But for now, we're going to keep it as a new workflow. So here's the name of it. We're just going to call this 0.0 test demo workflow, just so we can find it later. Put some spaces in there, make it look pretty. All right, so let's give you a quick little tour before we start showing you how to do what to do. So we're in the builder area right here, and this is allows you to add triggers and actions. Next one over is settings. You've got allow reentry. So typically when you add a contact to a workflow, they would only need to go through that workflow once. However, some workflows, like when you're testing, you want to allow reentry. So typically we turn that on when we're going through some testing phases. Next one is stop on response. This will end the workflow for the contact if the contact replies. And it doesn't matter what the reply is, this is just an automatic stop. Next one is time zone. Typically we do the account time zone. You can also set up a specific time, and this is really good for TCPA, although there are different ways to manage TCPA, which is a Telecommunication Protection Act, which means you cannot text people between 9 a.m. 9 a.m. and 8 p.m. Anything after 8 p.m. or before 9 a.m., you're not allowed to do that, right? So just allows you to keep you compliant. Next one is mark as read. And for people that are sending out a lot of text messages and emails, you may want to just mark as the incoming messages come in, confirmations and things like that. You may want to just toggle it as read so you don't jam up your inbox or your conversations tab. Next one over on the right-hand side up at the top, we've got enrollment history. No enrollments right now because we haven't used anything. We haven't created a workflow. But as contacts start going through this, you'll see the enrollment history. And this allows you to see the history of every contact that has entered the workflow and what steps they've gone through. We also have an execution log, and this allows you to see every execution in that workflow as opposed to a summary of kind of a higher view of it. Okay, we'll get into this a little bit more in detail as we start building this. So let's go back to the builder. And the first thing we need is a trigger. So what is going to launch this workflow? So we're going to add a trigger, and there's lots of different triggers. I think there's like 37 or 38 of them. 99% of the time, you're going to have either somebody fill out a form, fill out a survey, or you're going to manually add them to a workflow by adding a tag. So you could do a tag, just type in the word tag, and there's contact tag. You could also have them fill out a form, and you have form submitted. If you type in, let's say, survey, and this is a survey submitted. So for this training, we're just going to do a form. We're going to do form submitted. So this means that when the contact fills out a specific form, this workflow will launch. This could be used gathering contact information. It could be asking them questions about their background or history or some kind of Medicare question. It doesn't really matter what's on the form. It just means that when they fill out a form, then you're going to have this execute. So the form is, and you pick a form. We've got lots of forms in here already. If you need to customize a form, you can see one of our other trainings. We're just going to do one of the brochure forms for right now, 0.0 brochure forms, and we're going to click Save. So when that brochure form is completed, this trigger will take place. There's a couple of things just standard across all workflows or automations that we like to do. The first automation standardized action is leaving a note. So we add a note, and the note is going to be the name of the workflow. This will be important later on so that you can see on a contact, hey, what workflows did they go through? It will be under activities, but it's really nice to have this as an extra step here. The other thing we typically like to do is we like to assign the lead to somebody. So you would assign it to a specific user. In this, we're going to assign it to Trip because he's the only user on here. And it doesn't matter if you're the only user in your system, your CRM platform. Always get into a good habit of assigning it to yourself. Next thing we like to do is we like to add a tag. Now, what is the tag that we would like to add? Well, we would typically add the tag of the name of the brochure that they did or the service that they were interested in. And let's say they were interested in Medicare, right? So they filled out some kind of Medicare form, or they're interested in Medicare. Just click Medicare and then click Save. So now, as soon as this trigger takes place, the form gets submitted, a note will get put on to the contact. The contact will be assigned to Trip, and there'll be a tag added to this person, okay? Next thing we want to do is we probably want to email the person confirming that we received their information. So we're going to click an add action and we want to email them. We're going to choose a from name, and there's this little tag right here. You can click on this. We're going to select contact. We're going to go user, and this is from their full name. An alternative to from name could be the account name, right? So you can either do the location name or you can do a username, and this is who the email is from. The next one is the from email, and this is going to be from user, and we're going to go from their user email address. And the subject line will say, thanks for filling out our form. Okay. Next thing we want to do is go down here and type a message. Again, there's these custom value tag right here. Click there. And we want to pull in the contact's first name. And there's the first name. And we do a comma, enter. And this is just a confirmation we received your information. Thanks. And then you can do your signature file. And you can write whatever you want. We're just doing a demo here. And we're going to go back to user, and we want to pull their signature. And there's the signature. Okay. So now this is going to pull from your signature file, and this is going to pull from the contact's first name. And then you click save. Next thing we would probably want to do is notify the agent that they received a new lead or whatever the case is, right? So we're going to click the plus sign, and let's say we wanted to send them an email. Well, we're not going to type in email because it's not really an external email. This is an internal email. So we're going to send an internal notification, which happens to be an email. You can also put a notification up in the top right hand corner, or you could send them a text message, but we're going to use email for this example. From name, again, we're going to choose account, name, and from email is going to be that user, so it'll be just an email to themselves. We're going to do a subject line, and this is you have a new lead. And then we would put in that contact information, right? So we want to put their contacts, full name, hit enter, contact, and let's see what's on this form. It's probably first name, last name, email address, and phone number, let's say. And phone. Okay, and click save. And we need to figure out who this is going to send to. Well, it's already assigned to this user, so we're just going to do it to assigned user. Now, you could do a custom email and send it to somebody that's not in the system. You could also send, let's say, an admin or another agent that doesn't use the CRM. You could send it to anybody. You could also send it to a particular user in your platform, and you would just select a user. For this one, we're going to just choose assigned user. And we're going to click save. And we're going to click save. And now it's saved. It is not, however, published. So we want to publish this and click save. So now, if anybody fills out that form, this automation will take place. Okay? So let's go back, and we want to check one thing, and that is what is on, or what fields are on that form. So we're going to go to the setting, or the site rather, close that out. We're going to go to Forms and Form Builder. And this was a 0.0 brochure, and we should probably pick out a specific form. So let's go the 1.0, let's do the Medicare, right? So 0.03 Medicare bio. So it looks like we're gathering first name, last name, email address, and phone, and there's a message. Now, there's UTM Medium. I'm going to skip over that because that is a hidden form. The person doesn't fill it out. But yes, I'm interested in receiving. So we do have a message in here also, right? So let's change that form to the 0.03 Medicare bio. So we're going to go back. We're going to go back to the automation here. Let's get rid of this stuff. And our automation is probably on the second page. It's that 0.0 test demo. Now we need to change this trigger because originally we just sent it to the 0.0 brochure forms, right? That means any form in that brochure folder, but we don't want any brochure or any form inside that brochure folder. We want the 0.03 Medicare bio form. So we're just going to type that in. Now, I also like to label this so it makes it a little bit easier and I don't have to type or go into it every single time, and that just renames it here. So I know that, okay, the form submitted was 0.03 Medicare bio. Got it. In the note, that's fine. Assigned to user, it's going to be trip. Tag is there, that's fine. The email, just want to name this one, confirmation. So we know that's a confirmation email, right? And let's say I did want to put in a text message. Well, before we send a text message, there's two things we got to make sure of. A, that we're being compliant. This person has opted in, and they filled out the form. And at the bottom of the form, there was that little opt-in. Yes, I agree to receive text messages and emails, blah, blah, blah. So we know that because they filled out that form and that checkbox was a mandatory field, that they'll be compliant. You'll be compliant if you text this message them. But under settings, we want to make sure that the account time zone is set and then the specific time. The specific time will restrict actions from being sent outside of the window that you define for the entire workflow. But we don't want to do it for the entire workflow. We want to do it for a specific step or a specific action in the workflow. So how do we do that? So we're going to right here, click action, and this time we're going to send an SMS. And we want basically the same information sent. Contact, full name, contact email, contact phone, and there was also a message field that we could pull in. So we just do a search for message. There you go. Now there's two different ones. I'm going to choose, it is probably this one right here. If you don't know, just add the second one in there too. It can't hurt anything. So add that in there, and let's add that third one in there just for good things. So there's three different messages, right? There's the message body. This is probably if they were to reply via an email, something like that, which they did not. They filled out a form. This is probably the form, or this is my guess. It really doesn't matter, as I said. We're going to copy this for now, and we're going to save this. We're going to go back to the email, and we want the email, wrong email. We want the internal notification to have that same information. So I'm going to just paste that in there and save it. So before we send out this text message, though, we want to make sure that the text message does not go out at, let's say, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So how do we do that? Well, we need to add a wait. So we're going to add an action, and we're going to type in wait. And then instead of 0 minutes, and we're just going to click this advanced window, and we're going to make sure that it's sending out, let's say, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m., and we can go all the way up to 8 p.m. Scroll down to the 8 p.m. There you go. And then click save. So now I also like to rename this as a TCPA compliance wait. Just name it TCPA. And now we know that this was TCPA compliant. This is an SMS, and we can rename this as a intro. And we want to, this is a text message to the person. So thanks for completing the form. The information you entered is below. An agent will be in contact with you as soon as possible. Right? And then they've got all their contact information. Now, you could put this on the outgoing email also. There's no harm in that. I like to remind people what they filled out. Okay? Your answer is here. Right? It just gives it another layer of confirmation. A lot of times when you call leads, they're like, I never filled out a form. Well, this is a confirmation that they did fill out the form, right? Click save. So now we've got a note. This is being assigned. It's being tagged. We have an email confirmation. We've got an internal notification going to the agent via email. We also have a wait sequence for the TCPA compliance, and that's only going to go out from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. And we have an SMS introductory, which is going to go after the wait. Okay, so this will only go out at that certain time. Okay, so that's it. There's 1,000 other things you can do with this, but that's the basics of how a workflow works.